Welcome back to Tape to the House. Coach Rob here with Alex Deitz. We are in week one out of 26 for 2025-26 football season. We're going today, August 28th, all the way through, I guess it'll be the second Thursday in February, right after the Super Bowl, which will be 26 straight weeks of Take It to the House. So we are talking right now about college, and this is sort of the weird 12-day week one of college football. We had a few games last Saturday. Here is the lineup of games for today, Thursday, August 28th. Probably one of the main games is going to be Boise State at South Florida. Boise State's got a preseason ranking of 25th. Boise, of course, made the appearance last year in the playoffs as the at-large automatic bid. They got there largely on the strength of Junty, their running back, who is now with the Raiders. And that game is actually this afternoon. So it's taking place in Tampa, where the South Florida Bulls play, and Boise State flying across the country to play in Florida this afternoon. Other notable games that are tonight, ACC, NC State, many regard as the second best team in the ACC preseason. Clemson is, most people are picking them to win the ACC. After that, it's kind of up in the air, but NC State seems to be a team that's supposed to be pretty strong. Now, interestingly, NC State is playing East Carolina Dites. I don't know if you remember the brawl that took place last year in this bowl game between the Pirates of East Carolina and the NC State Wolfpack. Yeah. But these teams hate each other.
Dang.
We may have Trump bringing the National Guard to Raleigh tonight just to see what will unfold between these two teams. Wow. I'm wondering if we're going to see some sort of pre-game warm-up scuffle.
Yeah.
You never know. Now, Jacksonville State's playing UCF. That's a Florida matchup that's probably not that big a game. You know, Delaware State playing Delaware, St. Francis, UL Monroe, Wyoming and Akron, Central Arkansas and Missouri. That's an SEC game. Central Arkansas, I believe, is still, I don't think they moved up. I think they are still an FCS program. Now, Duke is playing Elon. Elon is a North Carolina FCS program. Duke hosting them. That is a notable game, though, for us because Colby Harmon is playing at Duke, and I believe he's listed right now as a second-string corner on both sides. So
wow,
I would think if you're a second-string corner on both sides, you're probably going to get on the field.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be interested in looking for Colby Harmon, Brentwood Academy grad, true freshman at Duke. UT Martin is at Oklahoma State. UT Martin, another FCS program in West Tennessee. Buffalo is at Minnesota. Interestingly, we do have a safety this year that's playing at Innsworth School in Nashville who is committed to play for PJ Fleck in Minnesota, the Golden Gophers next year. So, cool. Interestingly, we'll have another local kid in the Big Ten, which we don't get that too often, to have a Nashville kid playing at Minnesota. But Stephen F. Austin, again, FCS playing at Houston, Alabama State, UAB. So a lot of these FCS are the money games that are in state, the bigger schools. But I think Trent Dilfer needs to get UAB in the winning column this year. He's probably got a little bit of pressure on him. Coached here in Nashville in high school for a few years at Lipscomb Academy. Nebraska is at Cincinnati. I think that's an interesting game.
Yeah.
Two unranked teams, but Nebraska travels well. Obviously, they're a great traditional program, but as of the last decade or so, Cincinnati's been in the mix of really, really good football teams.
Yeah.
So we will see if maybe the Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift announcement this week distracts the Bearcats of Cincinnati. I hope it doesn't. I'm not distracted, just so everyone listening knows. I am not distracted by this engagement announcement. Alex, do you feel distracted in your daily life?
Distracted would be a strong word. I hear about it, and then I see like all the memes and stuff, and they're pretty funny. But it's certainly not something that is on my mind consistently throughout the day.
Yeah. I've heard of professors canceling classes. I've heard of people going on social media and weeping with joy.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
I just don't get it. I don't know. I'm trying to think of the most starstruck I have ever been with someone famous. Sometimes you feel like you know somebody, but you don't know them at all.
Right.
But you feel like you know them. I would say there are a couple of guys that I feel that way about. One would be Clint Eastwood, and the other would be Sylvester Stallone.
Okay.
And then in the sports world, I would probably have to say, I don't know, maybe Bo Jackson, maybe Doug Williams of the old Buccaneer team. Probably John Gruden too. I feel like I know John. I watch John Gruden's videos every day, and watching him open boxes to me is really, really fun. If I found out that John Gruden was going through a divorce or one of his kids died or something, like Tony Dungy, that happened to Tony Dungy a few years ago, that would really make me sad because I feel like I really know him.
Yeah.
Even though John Gruden, Clint Eastwood, Sylvester Stallone, none of these guys know me at all. So they would not care if I died. But anyway, so speaking of distractions, I just went down a rabbit trail, but we're back on track. So Miami of Ohio is at Wisconsin, Stony Brook, San Diego State. So that's really it for Thursday, but that's quite a few games.
That's a lot.
Just for just for Thursday, and so let's see what's interesting is.
It's more Thursday games.
And then Friday we've got a bunch. So, I'm not even going to go through all of them. A lot of them are sort of the lopsided in-state games. An interesting game though on Fox.
Baylor.
Primetime, yes. Auburn is at Baylor at Waco. Georgia Tech is at Colorado. I think that should be interesting.
Trying to catch my debt.
So yeah, both of those should be interesting. So are you looking forward to either of those two games?
Certainly. As a Georgia Tech fan, not a super fan, but just with the history there, and they playing Georgia all the way down to the end last year in that bowl game, and Colorado Prime, obviously, they're great television. We'll see what Colorado looks like now that Travis Hunter and Shedeur Sanders are no longer with them. I'm excited. I think that's going to be good TV, and anytime you get Prime on, primetime television, in that 7 o'clock hour, something fun's going to happen. So I'm excited.
Yeah, and obviously, Colorado's in that Big 12, Georgia Tech's in the ACC, Baylor's still in the Big 12, and Baylor has not been really in that national conversation for a while. But all four of those teams, Auburn, Baylor, Georgia Tech, and Colorado, unranked preseason, not in the top 25. You would think that one of those four, maybe a couple of those four, will end up ranked. Maybe even one might have a shot at the playoffs, But just as a reminder, if you haven't heard this before, Alex and I both have dads that went to Georgia Tech. Alex's dad, couple years older than I am, but my dad, much older, actually played for Bobby Dodd in the 50s, in the glory years of Georgia Tech, back when they were in the Southeastern Conference. So Saturday coming up, again, a lot of kind of mid-majors or FCS games, but we do have some notable programs. Northwestern is playing Tulane, okay? Major conferences, Power 5 program. I guess Tulane is still American, so they're not technically Power 5, but Northwestern is a Big Ten program. Northwestern, I think, is putting almost $1 billion into this new stadium in Chicago. So that's going to be fascinating. This game is going to be in New Orleans, and Tulane is always a tough team. So that could be an interesting game. Alabama, Florida State. Alabama goes to to Tallahassee in the afternoon. Alabama preseason is ranked number 8, so a big favorite there. Vanderbilt, kind of interested in following them. They start the season at home against Charleston Southern. I'll be interested to see if Vanderbilt acts like an SEC team and wins that game running away. There's a little bit of question mark about Diego because the NCAA is trying to appeal his eligibility. That's not going to see the courtroom until I think the middle of September. So there's a weird chance that in about 3 weeks, Diego Pavia is going to be ruled ineligible, which would be really weird. Now, LSU-Clemson, that's a primetime game on Saturday. LSU preseason number 9, Clemson preseason number 4. That is a game, and these are two teams that desperately need wins.
Yeah.
And these are teams that, as of late, have not really been national contenders, but they've been national contenders before, just not in the last handful of years. So both of those guys are trying to get back. Brian Kelly hasn't really had that at LSU yet, but he had it at Notre Dame. LSU's had it in the past with Coach O, Joe Burrow, etc., and of course Dabo Swinney at Clemson. It's been a few years since he's been in that top 4. So big preseason ranking, and then the big game everybody's talking about is Texas-Ohio State. It's going to be at the Big Horseshoe in Columbus. We'll see how Arch Manning does on the road. That's actually an early game on Saturday, 11 a.m.
Those Fox games.
Yes.
Their Fox prime time is like the 11.
It's and you know what we're probably going to see? Gus Williams and Joel Klatt. I'm probably going to be yelling at Gus Williams during the whole... I don't care
Gus Johnson?
Gus Johnson.
I was like,
what am I talking about? Yeah, I don't even know his last name. But yeah, Gus Johnson is not my favorite. Syracuse is at Tennessee, which I think...
is interesting.
Syracuse is not a pushover.
No, they're not.
And Tennessee needs to show something. They've got a lot of people... the Vol Nation would say they're haters, they're doubters.
For sure.
But Tennessee's unproven, and we'll see. I'm not that worried about Nico leaving. I think they've got as good a shot without him as they did with him to be a good team. And I'm pulling for this guy who came over from App State and is going to be heading up Tennessee. And, of course, George McIntyre is the third stringer as a true freshman at Tennessee. Mississippi State, Southern Miss, Florida Atlantic, Maryland, Ball State, Purdue, in-state, Indiana game. Navy playing a Virginia team. Kentucky and Toledo. Toledo, not a bad team. Going to Lexington, that's a mid-major program.
Yeah.
I think they had a pretty exciting bowl win last year, if I'm not mistaken, a bunch of overtimes. So that should be interesting. And then, as far as other big-time games, Penn State's hosting Nevada. Penn State, preseason number 2. Iowa State is going ahead and playing their second game of the year, coming back from Ireland. They're playing South Dakota, who's an FCS program, but they're a national power FCS program. Oregon, number 7 preseason, again hosting a big-time FCS program in Montana State. Oklahoma is ranked 18th preseason. They've got Illinois State. Florida playing Long Island University. I have a feeling Florida's not going to have too much trouble there. Texas A&M playing the Roadrunners from San Antonio. Texas A&M preseason 19th. And then you've got Michigan preseason 14th playing New Mexico. Texas Tech preseason 23. USC not ranked preseason. Both Texas Tech and USC playing small FCS schools. Ole Miss opens against Georgia State. Georgia State beat Vanderbilt last year after Vanderbilt upset Alabama.
Jeez.
Georgia State is not a bad team, but Ole Miss you would think would be really good. BYU, Portland State. I'm looking for some of the, and SMU is 16th preseason, and then some of the West Coast. We got Arizona State is preseason number 11.
Wow.
UCLA and Washington and Utah all three of those programs not ranked at all preseason. So Arizona State, higher ranking than we're used to seeing from them the last couple of years. And it's nice to see a few big time matchups for this first weekend.
Yeah.
And at the same time, we're still having to put up with. I just don't like having 128 teams in the league, and
it's a lot.
I don't like having this arrangement that we've got right now, which is, hey, if you'll get your brains beat in, we'll give you $400,000.
Yeah.
How about you just give them $400,000 and go make another $4 million by playing somebody ranked that will get you on national television.
For sure.
That's the way I look at it.
Yeah.
So anyway, we'll see how all of that unfolds. But Alex, anything else regarding week one? I know we're going to have a lot more to talk about when these big games are behind us. But anything you're particularly looking forward to or looking for?
No, I think you've highlighted the big games that anyone that is any sort of college football fan, let alone people like us that try and watch as much as we can. There's just some nice, it's a nice opening weekend, some big time matchups, but so you feel like you can watch like all the big games. I feel like when there's so many games like this, it's just hard to like keep up with everything, but I feel like it looks like they have a pretty good spacing out of like all the big matchups, so it's nice to be able to see those. And just kind of excited to get back in the groove. Be interested with LSU this year because they haven't made a playoff with Brian Kelly as their head coach, and so you got to feel like he's got a lot of pressure, especially after they finished the year last year. So that's kind of a storyline to watch. And then Clemson as well. They weren't really in contention, I'd say, but Dabo Swinney, as you mentioned, had a lot of playoff success. Maybe 8-9 years ago, and over the last 3 or 4, it's been pretty quiet. So how will he bounce back? And knowing people that go there, big Dabo Swinney guys, so rooting for him. But I'm excited. I'm excited for it to get going and start to talk about it.
Absolutely. Well, just a quick glance here at the AP Top 25 preseason. We mentioned most of these teams. I don't think we mentioned Notre Dame yet.
No.
They're preseason ranked number 6. So it goes Texas, Penn State, Ohio State, then then Clemson, Georgia, Notre Dame. Then 7, 8, 9, 10 is Oregon, Alabama, LSU, Miami. Did not see or haven't mentioned Miami yet. Arizona State, 11. Illinois out of the Big Ten is 12. South Carolina, 13. Then it goes Michigan, Florida, SMU. It's a 16. 17, 18, 19, 20 is Kansas State, Oklahoma, Texas A&M, and Indiana. And then 21 through 25, Ole Miss, Iowa State, Texas Tech, Tennessee, and Boise State. So Tennessee, Oklahoma kind of back where, they're in the discussion early on. Tennessee probably a little bit lower than Tennessee fans would like. Ole Miss probably down a little bit. Obviously, Indiana's down compared to last year, but Indiana historically seemed like last year was more of an anomaly.
Right.
Illinois seems like they've got a high ranking. I think South Carolina and Michigan want to get up there a little bit higher. And Florida, great illustration on the Netflix series about Billy Napier in Florida, but, really struggled early in the year, got off the hot seat, frankly, and battled back to some great wins. And you just kind of wonder, what they are going to get out of the young quarterback this year at Florida, which, they're not going into the season with 2 quarterbacks. So they've got their guy. We'll see about how he does. You could say that about a lot of these schools. We're going to see if Marcel Reed can get to the next level for Texas A&M. He's a Nashville kid out of Montgomery Bell Academy. And then obviously we've already mentioned the quarterback from Appalachian State who's now at Tennessee. I'm sorry I haven't mentioned his name, but once they start playing, we'll get all their names straight and so forth. But it's going to be an exciting year. So thanks for being with us on Take the House. We'll be back with our NFL outlook, and we'll be right back.